Welcome. I'm Andrew Beach. I'm an executive career coach, and I'm a teacher of self-education. I help professionals communicate their value to find great new jobs faster. Today, we're going to cover a great topic that I've seen a lot of questions about this week, not only on Reddit, but on Quora, and people that I know personally that are wrestling with this idea of, hey, what do I do after I graduate? How do I find a job? So if that's something that's on your mind, or if you even have a different question, go ahead and leave that in the comments or in the chat to the side, and I'd be happy to answer that question during this live broadcast. So if you could please, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear okay. And I'm going to hop over and make sure that everybody in Facebook land can see this broadcast. Good to see you, Instagram. Good to see you, YouTube. And if you're joining me on LinkedIn or Facebook, I think I embedded the stream there as well. So wherever you're tuning in from, please feel free to use my handle on Twitter, @BrandingDynamo. Again, that's @BrandingDynamo. So thank you so much again for joining. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the curriculum, the slide deck for this particular topic today. And so I've been doing a lot of cruising around Reddit, around Quora, and I'm finding that there's a lot of college graduates or maybe even people in their first jobs that didn't take a lot of time to understand what it is they need to do next. And so we're going to talk a little bit today on how to find a job after graduation. Let me be clear. I'm not looking for this to be an end-all be-all. I'm looking for this to be a conversation. So if you have some concerns or some ideas that I didn't think about, then please go ahead and leave those in the comments below. I may have coached north of 1,000 people through career transition, but I'm always in the position to learn more and gain more knowledge. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing I would recommend to any graduate, whether high school or college, and it's something I actually did personally, is try everything on the menu. You don't really know until you actually try it. When I grew up and my parents, every Saturday we had hamburger night. And on hamburger night, they would provide us with sliced tomatoes. Well, I never ate tomatoes as a kid, but I can tell you today as an adult, I really enjoy a good tomato. And that's just something personal about me. But the idea is, hey, let's try everything on the menu. So when I was young, in fact, I got my first job at 13. Fortunately, my parents had their own business, but it wasn't a glamorous role. Trust me. So at 13, I was the janitor. My brother and I would go on Saturdays. My parents would drive us down to their business, and we would empty the garbages. We would sweep the floors. We'd mop the floors, make sure the place was presentable, clean the bathrooms. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a job. Okay, my first real paid job was actually at a car wash. So, and I had always thought, I always loved cars. And so I always wanted to be on a car lot, and driving cars, cleaning cars, detailing cars. I never went into that, but it was something I had interest in. And I probably would have gone into that had I had the opportunity. However, I became a lifeguard. So there's a lot of different things that you can try, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, move on to something else. At least you've gained some experience, number one. And number two, you found something maybe you don't like doing or maybe wouldn't want to do for a career. So by doing these things, trying what's on the menu, you get an idea of what works and what doesn't. Okay. The next thing is, I suggest a lot of people look at very large companies. And here's why. Because if you can get in with a large company at any level, more often than not, they have career progression programs, or at least give you an opportunity to look throughout the organization to find your next opportunity. So they have defined job titles. You can look at those job titles. You can network inside the company. You have a lot more visibility once you're on the inside, regardless of the role. Don't get all stuck up on what the role should be. Just get a role inside a larger company, and a lot of times you'll have more visibility to other opportunities. So that's another thing that I recommend. Okay. Something I did personally, and it's not for everybody, is out of high school, I actually joined the military. I got to my senior year in high school, and I recognized, hey, I wasn't going to earn a scholarship, nor was I talented enough athletically to get a sports scholarship, or I was smart enough, but not certainly smart enough to get an academic scholarship. So it dawned on me that I would have to fund my own education. And I was not really excited about taking out thousands and thousands of dollars loans. So I actually went into the military to help pay for my college. And so I can say today that based on my service in the military, some Pell Grants, and literally one student loan on top of working part-time, I funded my entire education. And today I don't have any student loan debt. So I feel pretty good about that. Now, the nice thing about the military, if you get in and you like it and you stay in for 18 to 20 years, as early as 16 years, I've heard, if they gave you early retirement, you would be retired from the military and be eligible for a pension. What does that mean? Well, if I go in at 18 and I'm out at, let's say, 20 years later, I'm 38 years old. I am young. I still have a huge future professionally that I can go and do other things. In fact, I'm coaching a guy right now that's kind of in that same boat. He's in his early 40s, served his 25 years, got his pension from the U.S. Marine Corps. And I tell you what, he's got his future ahead of him. And there's nothing that can hold him back, I'll tell you that. But so consider the military. Now, I'm not saying all these things are for you, but you should at least consider these things, do some discovery, find some people that have done it, see if it's for you, and then make a decision and go for it. Okay? The next thing is graduate training programs. By that, I mean there's a lot of companies out there that specifically hire straight out of college because they want to train you up in the way that their company is designed. The ones that come to mind, at least for me, Enterprise Rent-A-Car is a big one. They hire people out of college, teach them how to deal with customers, handle inventory, service delivery. They give you how to manage people. They give you a whole training program, and a lot of the people I know, either in sales or leadership today, actually got their start out of college through Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I know there's similar programs in insurance, financial services, and other industries. So don't overlook the idea that you might have an opportunity to get a good job, or at least training straight out of college into a job or career that might work for you. So I would suggest do some exploration on those things. Now remember, each one of these, I give you 5 things and I give you a bonus. So stick around. We don't want to miss the bonus, because I want you to know that I'm actually putting together a curriculum that would be very suitable for somebody outside, coming out of college and wanting to find a new opportunity. And so regardless of whether or not you're coming out of college or you're looking for an upgrade in your current role or a promotion, or maybe you were a reduction in force, a layoff, I am happy to announce that I will have a system by which you can find your next opportunity that doesn't require a lot of, how would you say it, voodoo science. So it's something based on the thousands of people, the over 1,000 people that I've coached, and my personal experience having gone through 4 transitions in my career. Okay, so number 5, start something. A lot of folks come out of college or even high school and they're like, hey, I don't want to work for somebody else. What I see on the landscape isn't so exciting. What I'd really like to do is start my own business. And there's plenty of resources out there for you to find business opportunities. Okay, it could be something as simple as a service where you're washing windows or eliminating graffiti off of the side of fence posts or fences. You just provide a graffiti removal service. A good resource for this is actually Dan Miller, who is 48 Days to the Work You Love. So if you go to 48days.net, and I think it's like 75 low-cost business ideas, if you want to go that route, it might be a good opportunity for you to start something. Now, I'd also recognize that there are public resources that are free. There's a small business development center that's funded by the Department of Labor that you can actually go and get coaching and guidance from the Small Business Administration on how to start a business. And so there's a lot of great resources there that you could certainly take advantage of. Okay. Now the bonus. Dun, dun, dun. Get support. If you're getting out of high school or out of college, it really helps to have somebody that is professionally trained, or at least part of your alumni or career services organization, that can help support you getting placed into a job. Now, I, as a career coach, would certainly like you to do business with me, but if you don't, that's okay. You can always go to WorkSource is a good place. That's funded, I think, also by Department of Labor. So when people get laid off or are between jobs, you can go to WorkSource and you can get public assistance. I know Goodwill is another source. They have a job connections office inside virtually every Goodwill facility. Your local church groups. There's church groups that actually provide a job finders ministry as part of their church. Now, I'm certainly a believer in Jesus Christ, but you don't have to be. Okay, so even if you go to these churches, they're doing the ministry because they feel like they want to be of value to you. Okay, so go ahead, check out those resources, engage a coach, get to your alumni or your career services at your college. And there's a lot of resources available to help you through that process so that you don't have to walk that path alone. There's nothing worse than walking a path through your career by yourself. It's not a very fun and exciting process unless you're doing it with somebody else or somebody else is supporting you. And I'd be happy to be that person for you. If you want, send me an email, me@andrewbeach.com, and I'm happy to give you the first consultation for free. Okay? So that brings us to the end. I want to talk a little bit about the course that I'm putting together that's going to launch in November, and it's an interactive learning experience. Again, it does have online course, but it also has group interaction. Okay? So we're going to have the course, we're going to have the webinar, open office hours, and a group on LinkedIn for you to do some collaboration, okay? And so the really it's 3 steps to career success. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is there's 100,000 people out there that are going to tell you how to optimize your resume or make the perfect cover letter or perhaps even tell you how to do the perfect online application. What they aren't going to tell you is that they're optimizing the least effective method. What most people aren't giving you is a roadmap or a process by which you can actually go out and network your way professional networking, not the sleazy stuff that you probably have heard about or at least are leery of doing. I'm talking about a process by which you can go out and professionally communicate to people your unique value and find opportunity. So here's the 3 steps. The first is you have to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, how on earth can you sell what you have to offer to somebody else? So we spend a lot of time at the front end documenting your strengths, doing some assessments, maybe even documenting some stories or accomplishments you've already had, whether those are professional or personal, might even be through school. I know I was a DJ at Oregon State University on KBVR. It's not something I talk about a lot, but it was a lot of fun. I always had the 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. slot. So, anyway, I digress. So that's the first thing is know who you are. Try different things. We talked about that earlier, but documenting who you are is the first step. The second step is, what do you want to do next? And the good news is you get to choose. You get to choose what you want to do next. Now, certainly that's within reason, but we help you identify target people and target companies and ways to find those people through LinkedIn and other sources so that you can have a way to actually reach out to these people. Okay? And then the third step is how to meet the right people. Now, we've identified who you are. We've identified the people to meet. The question is, how do you interact with those people? How do you meet them? What should you say? How should you approach it? How do you follow up? How do you make sure that you're not overstepping your bounds? And what's the etiquette around that? I think that, more than anything, is the number one place where people might fall down, okay? So if you're interested in this kind of an interactive learning experience with me as your coach, taking a group of people through a process, please go ahead and go to brandingdynamo.com and put your name on the waiting list. There's obviously no obligation. You'll get early access, and I'd really love to see you there, okay? So go ahead, brandingdynamo.com. I'll give you a second to do that now, to go to that website or jot it down. I'll even put it in the comments here or on the rebroadcast. You'll be able to see the link. So thank you again for joining. Let's see if there's any questions on the chat here. Okay. Any questions in Instagram land? Okay. Doesn't look like there's any questions today. If you do have questions, go ahead and leave those down below. I'd be happy to answer those next FAQ Friday. And this is Andrew Beach, Executive Coach, saying happy networking.